The spider caught a bee and kept signaling to Jack. Jack thought it was asking him to cook, but the spider waved its hand, signaling that the bee should be left alone. So, Jack built a small house for the bee. To his surprise, just a few days later, the worker bees had already built a hive inside. Jack was very pleased, thinking that soon he would be able to harvest honey. Next, Jack decided to build a reservoir. Originally, Jack planned to use stones to create a water channel, but the forest only had trees and soil, and the wood joints would leak. He decided to use a universal farming tool to solidify the soil, making it as hard as cement, and then he could mass produce it, as there was no shortage of labor. The elves were responsible for the transport, while Jack focused on patching the walls and laying the foundation. With everyone's efforts, the reservoir was completed quickly. This made irrigation more convenient, and Jack felt it was time to plant the rice paddies. Jack's universal farming tool helped quickly finish 2 fields. When the sluice gates were opened, everyone began entering the rice paddies. Following Jack's instructions, the elves took off their socks and prepared to plant the rice. Although they didn't understand the process, they mimicked Jack's actions. At first, they were clumsy, but they quickly became skilled. The task of pest control was left to the spider larvae, and with the boost from the universal farming tool, the rice grew quickly. Next, it was time to harvest the rice, which the elves did with ease. A few days later, after the rice was dried, Jack turned the universal farming tool into a threshing machine. The girls didn't quite understand but thought it was magical. They then sifted out the debris, used a stone mortar to hull the rice, and a wooden pestle to remove the bran. When Jack saw the shiny rice, he was so excited that he nearly cried. But the rice still needed to be cooked. He started by simmering it on low heat, then boiling it on high heat, and finally simmering it again. At last, the miracle happened. Since there were no side dishes, Jack molded the rice into balls, filling them with pickled salted fish. After tasting it, everyone immediately loved the flavor. Jack didn't even try one himself. Though he hadn't tasted it, seeing the happy expressions on their faces made him feel it was worth it. The next day, Jack and the elves planted rice again. When everything was done, Jack realized that no matter how dirty the elves were, they could instantly clean themselves with magic. But only he needed to wash himself. So, he decided to build a bathhouse. Although the elves didn't know what a bathhouse was, they followed Jack's instructions and finished it. Jack was especially satisfied with the size of the bathtubs. But a new problem arose. The bathwater and waste would directly flow into the river. The angel, however, said that all they needed were some cleaning slimes, and that would solve the problem.